Good morning, class. Today I'm going to go through exercise 2C, which you have done in the notebook with you. Okay, so please take up your notebook and look at the questions and see if you can do it. Question 1. Convert each of the following angles from radians to degrees. Give your answers correct to one decimal place. Okay, give your answer correct to one decimal place. Okay, let's take a look at the first one. Now, we know that pi is 180. So 5 pi over 6 will be 180 over pi times this. Remember the rule? Because this is the exact answer, we will give 150 degrees. Likewise, for part 2, we are going to do the same thing. Pi equals to 180. And then we have pi over 7. We do the same thing, and then we will get a 25.7 degrees. Part C, we write down the same thing, 3.2. We do exactly the same steps, and we will get 183.3. Okay, part D, when we have the same thing and we follow the same steps, we will have 146.7 degrees. Okay, this will be your answers and working to question number 1. Now, if you have to pause the video to write down some things, please feel free to do so. Now, number 2, convert each of the following angles from degrees to radians. Now, in this particular case, we have to write it the other way around. That means we write degrees first, then radians, then we follow the same step, pi over 180 times 37.4. You will give the answer to 3 significant figure round off. Okay, part B, likewise, we do the same thing. Okay, we get 1.38. Part C, we'll do the same thing. We'll get 2.48. And part D, we'll do exactly the same thing, and we'll get the answer as 5.38. Now, class, please take note. We always have to line up the things together, degrees, and then radians. Then you can use the method that I have taught you. Okay, so this is question number 2. Now let's move on to question number 3. What did question number 3 say? Convert each of the following angles from degrees to radians, leaving your answer in terms of pi. Now, class, when they say leave answers in terms of pi, it means that we do not key in any value for pi. We just leave it as pi. Leave the answer as pi. Okay? So, we'll do the same thing. Degrees, radians, do the same working. We'll get 1 over 12 pi, or pi over 12. Now, I just want to revise something in algebra here. When we have a 3 over 4x, if we write in the middle, this one means 3x over 4. It belongs to the top. That means whatever you write in the middle actually belongs to the top. Okay? So please be clear about this. And we will do likewise for part B. We will get a pi over 10. Part C, we will get a 5 pi over 12. And just as I've explained just now, 5 pi over 12 is the same as 5 over 12 pi. Okay, part D, we'll do the same thing. Alright, so that will be our answer to question number 3. Now, next up, question number 4. Find the value of the following where all the angles are in radians. Now, class, in degree mode, we will have something like sine 60 degrees equals to something. Note that you always take sine, cosine, tangent of an angle. So this one inside here is actually the angle. Okay, so 0.8 will be the angle. Likewise for all the parts there. So you have to change your calculator to radian mode. Okay, note that we always take sine, cosine, tangent of an angle, and this is the answer. So we change to radian mode, we key all the parts there, okay, and then we will get the answer as I've written on the worksheet here. Okay, Feel free to pause the video if you need to check the answer. Just bear in mind that when we put sine of, let's say, 0.5, cosine of 0.5, or tangent of 0.5, all these are angles and they are in radian form. They are in radian mode. Okay, so that will be your question 4. Now next we move on to question 5. Okay, question 5 says, for each of the following, find the value of x in the range x between 0 and pi over 2. Now, x between 0 and pi over 2, in degree mode, it means that this is actually 90 degrees. Okay, but because the question wants it in radian mode, we have to give it in radian mode. Now note that in this case here, x is an angle, sine x. So x is an angle. So note that x is an angle and we have to press sine -1, cosine -1 or tangent -1 for the answer. Just like when we do it in degree form. Okay, so we will press sine -1, 0.74, we'll get this answer. Cosine -1, 0.17, we'll get this answer. So all these answers are actually in radians. Okay, it is degrees, sorry, it is angles, but it is in radian mode. Okay, so don't forget, this is an angle, therefore when we want to press the calculator, we got to press sine inverse. This is an angle, and because it's an angle, we got to press cosine inverse or cosine -1. Tangent, so we got to press tangent -1 or tangent inverse to get the angle. Okay, just like when we do it in degree mode. Okay, now we move on to question 6. From question 6 to question 10 is actually solving tuakaso. Okay, with the use of the angle as radians and not degrees. So it's actually the same, just that all the calculator has got to be in radian modes. Okay, now let's take a look at question 6. I believe some of you have already tried. Okay, so they say calculate the length of BC and AC. Now for BC is here, I use tangent, angle 0.93. I do the necessary manipulation and I will get 11.7 cm. Okay, likewise for cosine, for part 2 I use cosine, I will use this and I will get 14.6 cm. Now a lot of you will ask me that can I use Pythagoras theorem for the second part? The answer is yes, but you must make sure you take the 5 truncate one and you work it out. Okay, but my advice is always use the information given in the question, because like this you will make less mistake, because what you have found out may not be correct or you have made a mistake. Okay, so that will be your answer to question number 6. Okay, now let's move on to question 7. Okay, question 7. Please read the question. The question says, find the height of the tree and the distance between AC. So height of the tree is AB. Okay, I will use again tangent and I'll use the necessary manipulation. I'll get 6.79 meters. For part 2, find the distance of AC. I will use sine and I use the necessary manipulation and I'll get 14.4 meters. Okay, 14.4 meters. Feel free to pause the video if you need to copy down some things. Okay, for question 8, they say find the length of the cake which is to be sprinkled with chocolate rice or to be sprinkled with icing sugar. So I have labeled for you. PQ is chocolate rice, QR is icing sugar. We use cosine to find PQ and we use sine to find QR. Okay, note that there's nothing special about all this, we already know this, just that now the angles are in radians. So this is the only difference. Okay, this is the only difference. Alright, I will move on to question 9 now. Okay, question 9 is slightly a little bit more difficult. Okay, let's look at question 9. Find angle PQR in radians. Now I've redrawn the triangle here, so PQR is here, so I'll use cosine, I will get this angle. Next, they say find angle PQX in radians. Now PQX is this small little angle. Okay, now I already find PQR. So if I can find this angle XQR and I minus off, I'll be able to get PQR. Now, angle XQR is pi. Now, I want you to look at these three angles. This, and this. These three are actually angle sum of triangle. And angle sum of triangle adds up to 180 degrees. And 180 degrees in terms of pi, in terms of radian, will be just pi. Now 90 degrees is pi over 2, 1.02, angle sum of triangle. I will get XQR as this answer. So if I want PQX, I just take PQR minus this, I will get 0.417. Okay? So I take the whole angle, I minus off the green one, I will get the red one. Okay? Last part, they want to find the length of QX. Okay, for the length of QX, we just use sine and we can get the answer easily. Okay, so that will be your answer to question number 9. Okay, please feel free to pause the video to copy down the answer if you need to do so. Okay, question number 10. Alright, they say part 1. They want to find the angle PSQ, that is this little one, okay, that is between the slides. Okay, let me find out the whole of PSR first. So PSR, if I use cosine, I will get this answer. Okay, so if the whole of PSR, I minus 0.85, I will get this little red angle, which is PSQ, which will be 0.159. Now part 2 says they want to find PQ. I want to find PQ. Okay, now if I can find PR, okay, and I find QR, I just need PR minus QR, I'll get PQ. PR, you can get it by Pythagoras theorem, get the answer. QR, you can use tangent, and then you manipulate and you get the answer. And therefore you can get PQ when you minus the 2 off to get 3.34 meters. Okay, now please write down the answers if you are not sure and go through the working again in your notebook for exercise 2C. For tomorrow's HBL, you will have to report to Google Meet and I will give instructions from there. Okay, have a good day, and that's all for today.